Dylan has plenty of arm strength. I think he's been inconsistent. I think Shedeur has been mostly accurate on his good ones. When it leaves his hand, So they are very tradable, both Pickett and Flacco. Any other quarterback, they're way at the bottom end.
When your team's GM calls you out for not smart decisions just days into training camp, you know things aren't going according to plan. But here's the twist. Despite the controversy, Shedeur Sanders might actually be turning heads for all the right reasons in Cleveland. Let's start with what everyone's talking about. 2 speeding tickets. That's what landed Shedeur Sanders in hot water with Browns GM Andrew Berry just as training camp kicked off. We're talking 91 miles per hour in a 65 zone and 101 miles per hour in a 60 zone. Berry didn't mince words when reporters asked about it Thursday. Not smart, that's just not smart, Berry told the media, and you could hear the frustration in his voice. It's something that we have addressed with him. He understands the implications. He understands the consequences. But Berry wasn't done. He made it crystal clear this wasn't just about Sanders being reckless with his own safety. I think the thing is, it's not just about yourself. It's not just about driving your car real fast. It's about the fact that you endanger other people. It's about the fact that if a deer or someone cuts out in front of you, like your reaction time. Head coach Kevin Stefanski echoed those concerns, emphasizing that all rookies need to make smart decisions whether they're behind the wheel or just out in the community. It's exactly the kind of maturity question that contributed to Sanders sliding all the way to the 5th round in the first place. Now, here's where things get interesting. While Sanders was dealing with this off-field drama, his dad Dion wasn't exactly staying quiet about the Browns' quarterback situation. You've got to love Coach Prime, the man who once hit a home run and returned a punt for a touchdown in the same week back in 1989, the only athlete in history to pull that off. During draft night, when Shedeur pointed out that Cleveland had Joe Flacco, Dion couldn't resist dropping this line. Flacco's my age. No direct shots fired, but if you're reading between the lines, the message was pretty clear. At 40 years old, Flacco isn't just a veteran, he's practically Dion's peer. And honestly, the math checks out. Flacco was drafted way back in 2008, won his Super Bowl with Baltimore in 2013, and get this, Shedeur was only 10 years old when that happened. When Dion made that comment, it wasn't just a joke, it was history speaking. But let's talk about what's really got people buzzing. Zach Jackson's latest reports from Browns training camp. Jackson, who covers the team for The Athletic, has been watching this 4-way quarterback battle unfold, and his observations about Shedeur are turning some heads. Going into camp, most people figured this was really a 2-man race between Flacco and Kenny Pickett for the Week 1 starting job, with rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders competing more against the playbook than each other. Jackson even said back in spring that Sanders probably couldn't win the job by September, noting he hadn't taken a single first-team rep. But 4 days into training camp, something started shifting. Jackson's been tracking every throw, every rep, every moment of this competition, and here's what he's seeing. In one particular Saturday morning drill, all 4 quarterbacks got 4 passes each in a 7-on-7 session. Collectively, they went 5 for 16. Not great, right? But here's the kicker. 3 of those 5 completions came from Sanders, all checkdowns in the final group of the drill. Then Sanders did something that made everyone take notice. He threw his first real highlight play of camp, a crossing route for a touchdown to undrafted rookie receiver Luke Floria in an 11-on-11 drill. But he wasn't done. Sanders followed that up with consecutive touchdown throws in red zone 7-on-7 work, leading to what Jackson described as the most prolonged period of completions near and in the end zone that we've seen in camp. Now, Jackson's been methodical about tracking reps, and the numbers tell an interesting story. After 4 days, Sanders had 26 reps in 7-on-7 situations and 19 in competitive 11-on-11 scenarios. Compare that to the other guys. Pickett had 18 and 31, Flacco had 21 and 13, Gabriel had 20, and Irpati won Badavde. But here's what Jackson really noticed about Sanders. When Sanders is on, he's accurate and able to layer passes to allow the intended target the best chance to catch it and gain yards. That's not just coach speak. That's recognizing legitimate NFL-level talent. The problem? Sanders still isn't getting any reps with the first-team offense or against the first-team defense. Jackson noted that Sanders is getting more opportunities than any number. 4 quarterback has in any previous camp situation, but there's still a clear hierarchy. And that's where things get really interesting, because other NFL voices are starting to weigh in, and they're not holding back. Louis Riddick, the former NFL executive and current analyst, watched Sanders in his first training session and came away with a bold take. Riddick called Sanders the most talented quarterback on Cleveland's roster and said that if Sanders gets the same opportunities as everyone else, he could quickly emerge as the most impressive player on the entire team. But Riddick also highlighted the elephant in the room, the politics of the situation. Because Sanders was drafted later, the team might naturally give priority to other quarterbacks, particularly Gabriel, who's more established in the system. Riddick's concern is that Sanders might get very few reps in the crucial situations that would let coaches really evaluate what he can do. Kimberly, another NFL analyst, echoed Riddick's thoughts about Sanders' talent, but stressed that he still has a lot to prove. She emphasized that Sanders needs to show he can grasp the offense completely, not just rely on his natural ability. Then there's NFL star who didn't pull any punches. He flat out said that DIDN Gabriel and Kenny Pickett just don't have what it takes to be true starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But when it comes to Sanders, Shedeur is not the type to shy away from competition, said confidently. Whenever he gets his chance, he's going to make a difference. Went further, calling Sanders a serial winner who's proven himself everywhere he's been. I know how the outcome is going to be based on what he can do when he touches the field. He's been a winner all his life, everywhere he's went. And that same attitude and discipline and the way of playing the game of football is going to carry over in Cleveland as well.
I know how the outcome is going to be based on what he can do when he touches the field. He's been a winner all his life, everywhere he's went. And that same attitude and discipline and the way of playing the game of football is going to carry over in Cleveland as well. And this is no disrespect to the other competitors.
Now, let's break down what Jackson's actually seeing from each quarterback, because the details matter. Joe Flacco has the best arm of the group, no surprise there. But Jackson notes he's been up and down and has rarely strung completions together. The Browns are being strategic with Flacco, only giving him competitive 11-on-11 reps on 2 of the 4 days. Given his experience, they're letting him rest until he clearly separates himself from the field. Kenny Pickett threw one of the few interceptions in camp on Thursday, but he's shown off his mobility and generally gets the ball out quickly. He finished Saturday's practice with a pair of quick-release touchdown passes before suffering a hamstring injury that's now adding uncertainty to the competition. DIDN Gabriel started strong with impressive accuracy in the first 2 practices, but became erratic over the last 2 days. Jackson specifically noted that Gabriel struggled to connect with receivers in multiple settings on Saturday. And then there's Sanders, who Jackson says had his 2 best throwing days Friday and Saturday, which happened to be his busiest days in competitive situations. The key observation, Sanders is no longer getting the fewest reps, and is actually taking some series with the second-team offensive line against the second-team defense. But here's what really caught Jackson's attention about Sanders' performance: the accuracy and ball placement. When Sanders is dialed in, Jackson notes he's accurate and able to layer passes to allow the intended target the best chance to catch it and gain yards. That's advanced quarterback play, the kind of stuff that separates good college players from potential NFL starters. The Browns have been using what offensive coordinator Tommy Rees calls two-spotting, running simultaneous 7-on-7 drills on 2 fields to maximize reps. In Saturday's session, Sanders got an entire field to himself for 10 reps, while the other quarterbacks shared the other field. That's not an accident. Jackson also noted that the Browns have added special opportunity periods for rookies and backups to get extra 11-on-11 work, and in both periods so far, Gabriel and Sanders have split 6 reps equally. Cleveland just witnessed something special. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto that practice field Monday wearing full pads for the first time, and what happened next has everybody talking. Sanders went perfect, 9 for 9, 2 touchdown passes, better numbers than Joe Flacco, better than DIDN Gabriel. While the veteran struggled with accuracy, Sanders was threading needles and finding the end zone like he owned the place. The first touchdown went to Salvatore Sal Canella. Clean pocket, perfect read, surgical ball placement. But it was the second score that had Cleveland's practice facility questioning. Sanders connected with fellow rookie Gage Larvadain for 6 points that left coaches and teammates shaking their heads in disbelief. Here's what makes this crazy. Kenny Pickett was sidelined with the hamstring injury he suffered Sunday. That opened the door for Sanders to get meaningful reps with the second team, and he walked right through it. No hesitation, no rookie mistakes, just pure execution when the lights got bright. The draft night pain still motivates everything Sanders does. The blow was harsh at the end of April. Everything was set for him to celebrate getting picked in the first round. The party fell apart as hours passed, then days, and his name still hadn't been called. Finally, on the third day, his name was announced in the 5th round when the Browns selected him. Walking into Cleveland's quarterback room was like stepping into a nightmare scenario. Veterans Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett already ahead of him on the depth chart. Fellow rookie Dylan Gabriel drafted 2 rounds earlier. Sanders found himself 4th on a team that rarely carries 4 quarterbacks. But Sanders believes in himself, and that confidence is pushing him through the toughest battle of his football life. After being picked 144th overall, he told people he had Tom Brady's story in mind, the quarterback who was drafted in the 6th round and became the greatest of all time. Monday's practice session proved Sanders wasn't just talking. Practices are getting more and more intense with the Browns, and Sanders thrived under the increased pressure. Full pads, live contact, championship expectations from Myles Garrett breathing down everyone's neck. The Kenny Pickett injury changes everything for Sanders' opportunity. Head coach Kevin Stefanski maintains there's no established pecking order, but actions speak louder than words. When Pickett went down with that hamstring strain, Sanders got his chance to prove he belongs. Jerry Jeudy has been watching the quarterback battle closely. The Pro Bowl receiver caught passes from Sanders during individual drills and came away impressed. "I've seen them guys getting better each day," Jeudy said about the entire quarterback room. That includes Sanders, who's been maximizing every rep despite limited opportunities. The chemistry between Sanders and Kenny Pickett adds another layer to this story. Before Pickett's injury, the 2 quarterbacks were seen joking around during practice. Pickett playfully teased Sanders, saying his running style resembled Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. Pickett even hummed the iconic theme song, drawing laughter from teammates. That lighthearted moment shows the quarterback room isn't fractured by competition. Despite being in direct competition for the starting role, Sanders and Pickett developed a strong bond, often supporting each other and sharing laughs during training camp. But Monday's injury shifted everything. Ian Rappaport reported Pickett suffered a mild hamstring injury that will keep him sidelined for several days. Coach Kevin Stefanski didn't provide an exact return date, but expressed happiness with what he saw from Pickett during his 4 days of practice. That leaves the door wide open for Sanders to capitalize. Sanders' standout performance on Saturday set the stage for Monday's perfection. He completed 8 of 11 passes with 3 touchdowns during that practice session, drawing praise from teammates and coaches. One memorable play saw Sanders connect with Deontay Johnson for a touchdown, threading the needle with precision that showcased his NFL potential. Myles Garrett has become Sanders' biggest supporter in the locker room. After Friday's practice, Sanders stayed on the field working with center Brady Latham to fix snap exchange issues. Then Cleveland's $160 million franchise cornerstone walked over and started helping. Their all-pro pass rusher invested extra time to support the 5th-round rookie. Garrett's actions send a clear message throughout the organization. This is the same player who demanded a trade in February because Cleveland was a non-contender. The same guy who got his massive extension with one goal. "I expect to get to the Super Bowl." When your defensive anchor voluntarily helps the rookie quarterback, that speaks volumes. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees has been watching Sanders closely during practice sessions. The coaching staff's increased attention suggests internal evaluations are shifting. Sanders isn't just surviving Cleveland's quarterback competition. He's positioning himself to win it. The Jack Sparrow comparison from Pickett was meant as friendly teasing, but it revealed something important about Sanders' mobility. His ability to escape pressure and extend plays gives Cleveland's offense a dynamic element they've been missing. Sanders can hurt defenses with his legs while maintaining accuracy downfield. Monday's perfect practice session came with Joe Flacco watching from the sideline. The veteran quarterback has been getting first-team reps, but Sanders' flawless performance puts pressure on everyone ahead of him. 9 for 9 with 2 touchdowns is the kind of stat line that forces coaching staffs to reevaluate depth charts. DIDN Gabriel struggled with accuracy while Sanders was finding every target. Gabriel's draft position gave him early advantages, but performance matters more than where you were selected. Sanders is proving that 5th-round picks can outplay 3rd-round selections when the competition heats up. The Browns' offensive struggles last season create opportunity for any quarterback who can produce consistently. Cleveland ranked 30th in scoring at 17.1 points per game. Their defense posted an elite grade, but the offense was dead last in several categories. Sanders represents the unknown variable that could unlock everything. Kevin Stefanski maintained his position about keeping Sanders off the starting role despite Saturday's strong showing, but Monday's perfect practice session makes that decision harder to justify. When a 5th-round rookie outperforms established veterans, coaching staffs take notice. Sanders' calm under pressure separates him from typical rookies. Video showed him evading defensive rush and delivering a looping pass to Gage Larvadain for another touchdown. The play displayed poise that many first-year players never develop. Sanders looks comfortable in the pocket despite the chaos around him. Garrett's backing continues growing stronger. The defensive star praised the quarterback room's camaraderie, saying, "The guys are not afraid to make a mistake. Go out there and try to make a play. They're not afraid to seek each other out and make each other better." That includes Sanders, who's earning respect from Cleveland's franchise player. The injury to Kenny Pickett creates urgency for Sanders to capitalize on increased opportunities. Stefanski faces a tough quarterback decision with Pickett sidelined indefinitely. Sanders' perfect Monday practice puts pressure on the coaching staff to give him more meaningful reps. Browns fans are starting to take notice of Sanders' development. Social media buzz around his touchdown passes shows growing excitement about the rookie's potential. Even skeptics who questioned his draft position are beginning to see why Deion Sanders' son never lost confidence in his abilities. This is exactly what Sanders envisioned when he compared himself to Tom Brady, late-round picks who outwork and outperform higher selections. Monday's perfect practice session proves Sanders belongs in Cleveland's quarterback conversation, regardless of where he was drafted. The championship window in Cleveland opens and closes with quarterback play. Sanders might be the key that unlocks everything for a franchise desperate to reach the playoffs. His perfect Monday performance has Browns fans dreaming about possibilities they didn't see coming. The Cincinnati Bengals finally ended their unprecedented rookie holdout. Shedeur Sanders, the 17th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, signed his 4-year, $18.97 million fully guaranteed contract on Friday. July 25th defensive end from Texas. A&M became the final first-round selection to ink his rookie deal. Stewart's holdout lasted longer than any first-round pick in recent memory. He missed 6 off-season program workouts and 3 training camp practices. The other 31 first-round picks had signed their deals by July 16th. Stewart's absence created an unprecedented delay in what typically follows a consistent pattern. The dispute never centered on money. Stewart's contract value was predetermined by his draft position under the NFL's rookie wage scale. The $18.97 million figure and $10.4 million signing bonus matched standard expectations for the 17th pick. The conflict focused on specific language, allowing the Bengals to void future guarantees. Cincinnati inserted new conduct detrimental clauses that previous Bengals first-round picks never faced. The language could void guarantees at any time for misconduct, criminal offenses, or prohibited activities causing injury. "I'm not asking for anything crazy," Stewart told ESPN in May. "I'm not even asking for nothing. I just want things to be consistent. I just want consistent language as in the past contracts. I just won't practice until I get that out." Bengals owner Mike Brown explained the team's position during a Monday press conference. "I guess if he did something that really deserved punishment, that he would want the whole contract guaranteed, and we would want to say, well, it isn't guaranteed if you did something to that level," Brown said. "In that case, we would step in and take away the guarantee." Brown continued his explanation with blunt reasoning. "Doesn't mean that we couldn't agree to pay it, but we wouldn't be forced to pay it. I don't want to pay somebody who hypothetically could be in jail for 4 years at this level of pay. Stewart brings impressive physical tools to Cincinnati. The 21-year-old defensive end stands 6'5" and weighs 267 pounds. He played 3 seasons at Texas A&M